Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans, it's Joe in the pilot seat. If you're watching on YouTube, you're not seeing double. There are two handsome guys right in front of you right now. It's Joe version 1.0 and Joe, the newer version 2.0. My favorite co host, the guy who got me started doing this, Joey Molinaro, my son. So glad to have you back to Rule the Galaxy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Pop. You're actually 3.0. I'm 4.0 if we're
Oh,
getting technical with it,
you are
right?
correct. You are correct.
So you're third. I'm the fourth. But I'm good. I got my Baby Yoda hoodie on.
Love it.
It's December for me is it's an underrated Star Wars month for me. I don't know what it is about Star Wars. I guess maybe the latest movies that have come out with the sequels all coming in, Rogue One coming out in December. I
Yep.
don't know. I mean, maybe because it's such a family tie and Christmas is such a family time. Star Wars is very, very important to me always, but especially in December. So
I agree with you. I agree with you. I know. Well, I mean, let's just throw it out there to start this off. Well, as always, we're doing a quick show. Just Joey and I today. We've had so many guests on Rule the Galaxy recently. I just wanted to make it to where we went back to the basics and just talked a little Star Wars with some of the regular guys who are part of it. And we're going to do this with everybody, but Joey's leading the way. But you can always follow us at Rule the Galaxy SW on Twitter, Rule the Galaxy SW at gmail.com, and then Rule the Galaxy on Facebook and YouTube. But you're talking about December. Here we are in December of 2021. And first and foremost, Book of Boba Fett. We're all of 20 some odd days away from that. What are your expectations? What are you looking forward to? What's got you going on Book of Boba Fett?
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I hate to be the cliche of like, it feels like every year you get older, you just always have those conversations of like, man, can't believe it's December already. I mean, where did the year go? But it really is. I mean, I remember, the exact moment where I was sitting on your floor, in the living room watching the finale, the rescue of season 2 of Mandalorian, and then they had the epilogue with the Book of Boba Fett, and that was just almost 365. It was almost a year ago, and I remember being like, "Holy smokes! Next Christmas is going to be great." Don't know if we're going to get Mando season 3 too, but at least we have Book of Boba Fett coming. So it's just, yeah, it's phenomenal that we're so close to it, and I love the timing of it too, Dad, because it's, we always joke about how, you have those few days around Christmas where it's, the Christmas Eve, Christmas, maybe even the 23rd, where it's just, that's a jolly time. You're having Christmas. It's great. Focused on family, focused on friends. And then you have that weird week in between Christmas and New Year's where it's like, does time really exist? Are these days happening? What's going on? Who's doing anything? You're kind of looking for that something to fill the void. And I mean, perfectly slapped in the middle, we get Book of Boba Fett on the 29th. So it's going to be great. And I know it's going to be weird for you because it's like, I'm 28. I vividly remember being a young kid and obviously loving Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back and Boba Fett, and still being like 5 or 6 years old and just like, wow, what a bummer about Boba, and like, what happened to him? Did he really die? Did he really, you know what I mean? And now
Right.
you've been waiting a long, long time for this.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. Well, one, you're exactly right on the holiday time frame. We do go into like some weird quantumania, if you want to go to Ant-Man here.
It's like the world between worlds.
It's exactly. It's a, don't tell Brent that. It's a world between worlds between Christmas and New Year's. But so yeah, that is kind of a great time because let's face it, we all have to work probably at that time, but do we really get anything done? Nobody's really getting anything done. But yeah, going back to that, I was so into after 1983 and Return of the Jedi, any kind of book that I could read, I consumed it. I just took it right in. And so you got into those expanded universe days where there were tons of things coming out mentioning Boba Fett, or oh, he didn't die in the Sarlacc pit, and you're starting to go, whoa, okay, wait a minute, where's this going? But then when Disney came in, you're like, okay, that was all EU. That's going to get wiped out. But as our co-host Alfie, will tell you, being the biggest Boba Fett fan I know, it's a money guy right there, right? Everybody buys Boba Fett, even though he was in 6 minutes of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So when we saw that figure sitting there on, was it episode 1, the Cobb Vanth video of season 2 of The Mandalorian, and people are like, wait a minute, he's picking up Boba Fett's gear from Cobb Vanth. There's a guy, there's a sand person, a Tusken Raider that doesn't have a helmet on or a mask on. Who is this? And then the later see him come in. What was that? The Richard the Rodriguez version where he comes in and just beats the crap out of those stormtroopers, wants his gear back. It just brought it all the way around full circle. And everybody I know kind of in my age group was like, this is what we want to see. This is what we've been waiting for. So I think this is going to take us to the next level. And I'm really excited. You know, the previews we've seen with the back to tank and the sand people and, you know, going back to Jabba's palace. I mean, there's so many things that are going to be brought up here. I don't know anybody who's not your age or older who's not really excited about this.
I feel like we talked about the trailer. I texted you right away. I was like, it's got to be the Tusken Raiders who found him. You know, whatever we're gonna find out, whether it's he,
right,
you know, climbed out of the Sarlacc somehow, or his jetpack went off and he got to fly out of there, or whatever it is, and he ends up just in shambles, you know, out there on the sands of Tatooine. I just really, the way that they structured the trailer, where he was like, when I was left for dead on Tatooine, and you know, right when he says that, the sand people are walking, you know what I mean? It's
right.
like, that made me feel like, all right, the Tusken Raiders have to kind of see what's going on here, take him in. And then, like you said, with episode 1 or chapter 9, the first episode of season 2 of Mandalorian, we get that shot at the end, and he's basically dressed as a Tusken Raider,
Right.
just like you said, without any of the facial gear or anything like that. So, you know, we get Boba, like a 5-year period where Boba is, you know, rehabbing and kind of sticking around the sand people to keep him going and kind of plotting his return, you know. So I think it's just, you know, there's so that's one of the biggest questions in, really, I think maybe even entertainment. I mean, cinema is like, what happened when Boba Fett went, and especially now that we know that Boba Fett is alive and well in canon, that we saw in season 2 of Mandalorian. What the hell happened? How did we get here? You know what I mean? So I really think we're gonna get those answers, and I can't wait.
I'm gonna throw out a rural farm boy quote right here. Just tell me the story, right? I mean, just give me the story. And he says that to us all the time on Twitter, and when he's been on with us, just give me the story. And that's you know, I'm following along Brent's advice. I'm not letting my expectations get too high. It's fertile ground. There's so much going on. There's so many ways this could go. And so I'm really just excited. And it's more of excitement just of I don't know how it's going to come together. I don't know the full storyline. I'm excited that Fennec Shan is wrapped all the way back in from Bad Batch to season 1 and season 2 of Mandalorian to now this. I mean, here's a character that nobody knew of, that we didn't know anything about this character at all until the last few years, and now she's everywhere. And Ming-Na Wen is great at that character, so we're really excited about that. You know, there's going to be a lot of the Hammerhead, the Ithorian. You know, we've only seen them sitting still in the cantina in 1977, or then in animation, right? There's not really been that I can think of. Has there been another Ithorian?
Were they in the Senate on Coruscant? Is that where we saw them?
Possibly, yeah. But I mean, such limited movement in what they were doing. I'm really excited to see where this one's going to go. You know, you see in the preview, he's going to go and talk to a Hammerhead, an Ithorian. So that's kind of cool. But this is, I think they said 8 or 9 episodes. And
7.
7? Okay, 7. I knew it was right around that realm. But there's just not much that could be better than getting Star Wars at this time of the year. I think they found their groove of whether it's a movie or a release like this to make it come out around Christmas time. I grew up a kid of the prequels and the original trilogy always coming out Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend and or in May. And that was what we felt was Star Wars and everything else. But now that I see this Christmas time release, I think it's the only way to go. I think if you're going to do something big, You've got family around each other. You've got people who can sit and talk during this time frame. They don't have to really rush and hurry. They can really take it in, and you're inside for the most part in a lot of the country. So, it makes a lot of sense. So I think it was well done to put it here, and I'm just excited to see where these 7 episodes go. So,
Is Mando gonna show?
that's a good question. I don't know because I've heard, talking to Mark Newbold, he mentioned that he thought it was kind of season 2.5 of The Mandalorian that will lead into season 3 of The Mandalorian. That's, to where there's maybe a crossover there. And Alfie's always said that this era right here with Favreau, Filoni, and all the things they're putting together is kind of the MCU of Star Wars. So where this whole thing's going on 5 or so years after Return of the Jedi, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, the Ahsoka, and different things that are coming down the pipe. These are all going to funnel in at that same time frame. So could be really cool. Could have some real great crossovers.
Do you think Rodriguez, would they even dare to? I mean, and now we know because of the finale that Luke Skywalker is doing his thing. Could we have a conversation about that? Could you know what I mean? Is there something there that they dropped one of those bombs in there and kind of keep Luke alive in a while? Maybe he doesn't show up like he did in Mandalorian, but maybe it's kind of like I don't know. I just feel like you said, there's all this connectivity now because now we know that Ahsoka's out there. Now we know that Luke Skywalker's out there with Grogu. I would be a fan of something like that happening because, like you said, I think that is what has been shown to be successful in a Marvel, right? Is this these big holy shit reveals and these crossovers where it's oh my god, didn't expect it, and wow, they really went there, and I think that would be awesome. I definitely first and foremost want to get the full story of Boba Fett and get the answers there, but then hopefully when they get to the latter half of the series here, who knows what the hell goes on.
Well, I mean, you could have flashbacks. Obviously, Tamara Morrison does not have to be in the suit all the time. You could flash back to Empire and Jedi days and kind of walk through that with him being around Vader or some of those characters, around the Empire at that time. So that could be part of it.
What if the first episode they do a whole entire flashback to the Return of the Jedi, the whole thing where it happened?
Right. I mean, you could easily do that. And with today's
from
technology,
Boba's perspective, he looks down there and he sees, Luke Skywalker doing all of that. And I mean, that'd be pretty rad.
You know what? I hadn't thought about that before, but you're right. You could show that transition of him seeing what's going on in those skiffs, having to go out there, from his point of view, from his perspective, which I'm guessing they wouldn't focus in or get anything real close shots on anybody. Right. You could have people playing the characters from a distance. That would be fantastic. People would go nuts if that happened. But one of the things that you bring up big things that could happen. Let's face it, Boba has never been the biggest fan of the Jedi. So
yeah, his dad,
right. Mace killed his dad. He chased after him in the Clone Wars, wanted to kill Mace and the Jedi, right? So he now could possibly hear Luke's alive, Ahsoka's alive. These were Jedi during that, around that time frame, or going back to that. Maybe he's gonna come up with that idea of, hey, I still got some business to settle, with these group of people. And that could be part of the show. I think it was Alfie or Brent or someone talking about, well, why wouldn't we take old frazzled Mace Windu who fell out of a 1,000-foot drop and we never saw his body? Why don't we have Mace show up and have Boba finish the deal now, right? I mean, there could be anything that could go on. And Samuel, I'm sure, would be more than happy to come in as a grizzled old veteran Mace Windu and get cut up by Boba. But
I'd love
nothing. Go ahead.
What I think would be hilarious is, they're doing a flashback at the first episode and Boba was telling the story to Finnick or whoever. And you see from his perspective and he's like, the last thing I heard was Boba Fett. Boba Fett. And it's Han Solo just going, Boba Fett. Boba Fett. And then he gets knocked out and he's like, that's the last I remember is Boba Fett.
Well, Like I said, anything's up for this now. And when we see the Favreau and Filoni will go back and use Luke Skywalker, even if it's in the deep fake kind of realm of things, I don't think anything's off the table. So
Well, and
uh,
Lucasfilm is, I mean, it's been on record that Lucasfilm is like going pretty crazy with hiring like these like YouTube deep fake people who just do this crazy job. So it's like, stuff like that's coming.
Yep. I'm all for it. I'd take it. We'll turn the corner a little bit. You wanted to talk a little bit about the end of Rebels. How long has it been since you've watched Rebels?
Well, that when we were texting about it, that was one of the reasons, because I just finished up watching season 4
Okay.
again, just randomly. Like I like to put it on before bed, or like put it on while I'm working, and just catch it. Just because I don't know, I love Rebels. I do. I love all the characters. I've told you, I think I said on the show before, I just love how it's like a really good mix of like new characters that we weren't familiar with that you get introduced to, but also right in the middle of just perfect Star Wars era and time frame that we are comfortable with. So I just like I was watching the World Between Worlds episode. So emotional with Kanan, man, the sacrifice that he makes, and just I just really enjoyed the end scene where they tell the story. Sabine's talking about the story of what's going on and where they are. Like, just to hear her say like the Battle of Endor, and you can just perfectly imagine. You're like wondering where Hera was during that. Right? Was she in the Ghost flying around out there outside of Endor?
Right.
We know that Filoni said that Captain Rex is that old guy with the beard. When Han taps on that stormtrooper's shoulder, he kind of like. Didn't he kind of hint at that? And it's like, well, we think that's probably him there. So this is so cool to me. I love the connectivity, and it's a very emotional series, and I just love it.
I don't think people give Rebels enough credit. It starts off very kiddish. Let's face it. The first season is that dipping the toe in the water, letting you see the Aladdin of Star Wars and Ezra, right? But I think the character growth and the family that they developed in that show, it's going to stand the test of time, because let's face it, Clone Wars had the luxury of having a base of characters that you knew, and they could sprinkle in Ahsoka, they could sprinkle in Hondo Onoka,
Right.
they could sprinkle in people that you're like, oh, well, this adds to the story. Rebels was a complete blank slate, and then you go backwards and you sprinkle in a Bail, you sprinkle in an Obi-Wan. You don't make it all about them, and you make it about this new group that nobody knew anything about. And I think over that 4-year span, again, the character growth on all of them was phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with that. And all this talk now of when Ezra comes back, when Thrawn comes back, and a lot of people are saying the Ahsoka series is going to have a lot of that Rebels kind of sequel kind of feel to it, and I'm okay with it. I mean, obviously they just hired someone to play Sabine Wren. Yeah. So there's a lot of tie in there. I'm wondering if they could pull off a live action Zeb. I don't know, but obviously they could pull off a live action Chopper and all the other characters. So it's really cool. I think it would be great. Heck, in following that up, you could have the voice of Kanan and Freddie Prinze come in and talk to Ahsoka, right? You could have that interaction with him in the live action series. He doesn't have to be there, or he could as a Force ghost. I mean, all those things are still out there. So I'm really interested. On our group text the other day for the show, we had like a half an hour text chain going back and forth of, is Thrawn going to be turned to where he starts like being Boba, to where people feel like he's more of a good guy than a bad guy, right? Now that he's off with Ezra, or is Thrawn going to stay all the way Imperial, and is he going to take Ezra over to that side to show Ezra, we need you, we need a Jedi to help us, bring this back together? So there's a lot of things that could go on with that. And at one point in time, Brent Dykman said, what always freaked me out is those big space squid took Ezra and Thrawn, but they had just knocked the window out of it and they had Thrawn wrapped up in one of their tentacles. How do they survive? And Alfie's quote was, Brent, it's a space opera about wizards with lightsabers. Let the science go. Just
like Mark Hamill said about Harrison Ford. It ain't that kind of movie, kid. If people notice that, we got a lot bigger problems on our hands, you know?
Right. So
But I think like so with the Ahsoka series, you know, a lot of them are expected to come back. That's supposed to be, we think, the main kind of plot line is, you know, they set it up in Mando season 2. You know, where's Thrawn? Where's Ezra? But what's crazy is that in the Ahsoka logo, the world between worlds is right behind it. It's included in it. So I'm already thinking like, what is that mad scientist Filoni cooking up that is going to go into the Ahsoka series?
it's like we talk about Bill Belichick in the NFL, checkers and chess.
Yeah.
Our minds work as a chess level when it comes to Star Wars. We just take it in move by move. Filoni, gosh, he's playing chess, and he might even be playing three-dimensional chess, like on Big Bang Theory, compared to everybody else. He's tying this in, and he came out with that article recently, or the interview recently, talking about how he had some storylines and ideas for this Ahsoka series years ago, but he never thought he'd get to use them. And now that he's worked with Favreau, and they've said, well, let's piece this together with that and everything. So he's really excited about that. But, wrapping up from the end of Rebels into this next Filoni and Favreau verse that we're in, I think it was a great tie-in, and I think it leaves the door wide open for a lot of things. So
yeah,
very excited. Very excited.
Same. Yeah, it's that's one of the things about Rebels too, is it's just very rewatchable. You know, it's a really easy watch, and yeah, just all the characters, they're just a ragtag bunch of rebels, man. You know, and it's like I feel like that's the point. Is it's just that's supposed to be what's going on all over the galaxy, right? It's just people like that, getting together and using their different skill sets to kind of guerrilla warfare the Empire. So it's cool.
Agreed. And so one of the other things, when I said, hey, Joey, let's just talk, what are some things you want to talk about? You mentioned Christmas, and we've already started off the show talking a little bit about it with, Christmas season and Book of Boba Fett coming out right now. But I look back and I think about how fun it was, not only to be a kid growing up during the time frame of the original trilogy and getting the toys. And my parents didn't have a lot of money. So getting Star Wars toys and having a full on like Star Wars Christmas, it meant a lot to me. And it just stuck with me, and to have the characters and the ships and all those things. But then getting the chance to do that same thing with you, because the sequels were coming out while you were growing up, and the special edition, or the prequels and the special edition were coming out. Now you rope it into, again, the movies coming out at this time, shows coming out at this time. Christmas, you can say what you want. I mean, rip on the holiday special, that's fine. But Christmas and Star Wars are tied together for me from the time I was 7 years old. And so it's meant a lot. Are there certain things about Christmas and toys you've gotten, or things you've done, or movies you've seen that really bring this kind of season together for you, or mean a lot more during this season to you when it comes to Star Wars?
Yeah. I think, like I said off the top, the from 2015 on with the sequel trilogy and with Rogue One, it was just, you knew every other December or whatever you're going to be, with a group of people like we were, just, everybody has time off around that time. Everybody's down to do a little bit more, go to a later showing or skip out of work half day and go see the movie at 2:00, whatever it is, so that's always fun and something I'll look back on. But, one of them, like, I got that Ewok for Christmas, right? Me and Maddie got that Ewok for Christmas when I was like 5, maybe, right? And now my dog, my precious happy boy, I passed it down to him, and so it's still in my house, still in my family. Happy use it for a different way than I do. He's kind of torn it up a little bit and played with the Ewok to shreds. But the point is that, I've had that for over 20 years, and now my dog has it. I mean, now I know we laugh about, I still remember being a little kid and being out in the garage and you spray painting the Stormtrooper blaster, because for some reason they decided to sell them white, which was cool now looking back. But, my little OCD ass, when I was 5 or 6 years old, I was like, that's not the gun. That's not what you see in the movies. The Stormtroopers are white. The blaster is black. This thing's got to be black. But yeah, I mean, just I remember you spray painting that. I vividly remember that in the garage down there. But
I remember
yeah,
it too because I was afraid it was going to kill the sound. I was afraid the spray
oh
paint was
yeah,
going to get in where the sound
sure.
came out, and I was like, oh, but we took the chance and it works. And I think I still have it. That's the
Yeah,
one I still have in my closet behind me here.
probably. Yeah,
Um, um,
and I mean, it's so funny because as a kid, that was all Christmas was just the latest Star Wars guys and getting the Ewok village, and opening up, and there's just so many of them. And then when I was a teenager, just like when you're a teenager, like there weren't any movies coming out.
yep.
You're not getting guys or anything. Maybe a video game. That was kind of my teenage years.
Yeah.
Getting a Battlefront 2, maybe preteen years. You know what I mean? Like when I had grown out of playing with toys.
Yep.
Preteen years, it was like, man, I got to get the Battlefront 2 game.
It was so weird because I remember watching Revenge of the Sith with you, and that is the one movie we didn't buy any action figures really for because you were 12 at the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when I was 12, Return of the Jedi. So I had Star Wars and Empire guys, but I didn't have as many Jedi guys because I was starting to be 13 and there were a lot
Yeah.
of different things going on. So one of the things you did get to benefit from was, even when you were 12, 13, 14 years old, you could still get the bounty hunter game or the,
Revenge of the Sith game itself. They
Revenge
had
of the Sith game. Exactly. I mean, so that's one thing I missed out on. I never have been into the Star Wars gaming at all, but knowing that you could do that and transition into being a teenager and having those, that's pretty cool because it was figures and books for me. But you have that whole other level is a good thing. And most of the guys on our show are the same way. D-Doc and Nick and people at Benny, they went right from, hey, well, I'm not going to get guys anymore. Boom, I'm going to get video games and things like that. So,
but now we've come full circle. And that's what's funny is that now, you go from being, oh, you want to play with the guys. Now they're collectibles and you like to collect them. And just like you have behind you there, so, I mean, like last Christmas, I remember, you got me that awesome Mando and Baby Yoda painting, I guess it is. I forgot what the exact word is. You got me that. And then I got, a Chewbacca Black Series, a Mando with the Beskar Black Series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 27 years old opening these on, Christmas morning over there. So I had a couple more that I asked for that I'm kind of, trying to round out my collection and just because I think they're really cool that I put on my list this year, So, it doesn't stop. I mean, you have that weird time in the middle there where, you're too cool for it or you just kind of have other interests or whatever. But you always go back to your childhood. You always go back to it. So,
you do.
And now, it's just the ever ending cycle because hopefully, I'll be able to have kids one day. And I'd like to imagine whether they be a girl or a boy, I'd be able to, get them little Ray things if they're a girl or hell, if they like Mando or Baby O, whatever it is, you know what I mean? So it's, I expect it to be around for a while.
Well, I have definitely been, as you know, been stockpiling and there's an entire closet full of already opened action figures. There's a handful of boxed action figures to where I'm like, hey, as soon as grandkids come up, they're going to get to open those and play with them and all that. And even
you're planning ahead. You're going to save yourself money for Christmas.
That's right.
The road,
Even the ones I've got on the shelves here behind me, you know what? I can't take them with me when I go. And even though I like them, if my grandkid comes to me and says, "Hey, Popo Gijo, I want to open that Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi," I'm going to say, you know what? I'm whatever years old. Go ahead. What am I going to do with it? Right. So it's not like you can buy these and pay for your kids' college anymore. So if I would only kept everything from the 70s, I might have been able to. So any other things you want to go? Because I want to keep it short. I want to do like a half an hour with each one of the co-hosts and just let them talk a little Star Wars. Anything else you want to hit before we break away here and get ready for next week's big show we're going to have with Okairo from the Twitterverse and YouTube world.
Yeah, that'd be great. He seemed really excited about that, so it's cool. Christmas in the Stars.
Yeah.
Right. For those out there who love Christmas music, who love Star Wars as well, If you don't already somehow know about, isn't that what it's called? Christmas in the Stars?
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, Christmas in the
Yeah, there
Stars.
you go. If you don't know about that, I mean, good Lord, what an idea, what an album, I mean, there's nothing better for a Star Wars fan who also celebrates Christmas. Perfect tunes. They sound very Christmassy. You get your character. I mean, it's the best. So if you didn't know about it, I would throw that on. I'm sure they have the whole playlist on YouTube or Spotify or whatever it is.
They do. They don't have it on Apple Music though.
Yeah.
It's weird that they don't have that. I've got a few DVDs. I've got a few CDs of it. If anybody still has CDs, you're more than welcome. Ask Joe. I'll get them to you,
Yeah.
but you can try them out. But yes, they are pretty much streaming a little bit of everywhere. You just got to search it out. Christmas in the Stars. It has a young John Bon Jovi on it when he was like 12 years old. Anthony Daniels actually plays C-3PO and narrates a lot of it. And, listening to his audiobook, that's one of the things he was most proud of. He really felt great about that album and how it's still to this day being sold in different places and people still listen to it. Even, Joey, you mentioned we talked about Christmas stuff. My sisters, who are 43 and 42, still tell me some of their favorite Christmas movie memories was listening to that album when we were growing up. And they said they still have all the songs memorized. They all, what do you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb, all that kind of stuff, so yeah. So
no, I rather need something here.
No, you're good. So we'll
I was going to say, it reminds me of my childhood too. And like I said, it's just I feel like everybody wants to combine their interests, and there's no better combination there between Christmas and Star Wars than that. So give that a listen.
I will make sure. Matter of fact, I just shot a video of my wall here to put out on YouTube so people could see it. And I actually talked about Christmas in the Stars. So you're going to see it on YouTube. Joey, I will tell you, your Tamara Morrison was pretty good. It might be something you want to work on to do a little side thing for yourself there on Twitter and Instagram. I think that'd be fun. And you got the Mando helmet. Maybe we need to get you a Boba helmet, or you could borrow Alfie's Boba helmet and maybe do a little voiceover with that. So I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I need to
anyway,
something that I should ask for Christmas is that Boba helmet.
Yeah. I would probably need to get I need to get a real Captain Rex. I've got the toy version of Captain Rex, but I need to get the real
They sell those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Like a Black Series Rex. I need to get that. But look, I know you're busy. I know you got tons of things going on your plate. I can't thank you enough, one, for getting this started with me, and then two, just for coming and taking some time to hang with me. And we're trying to do some short shows so people in the holidays will have some extra Rule of the Galaxy to listen to go along with our regular shows. But thanks so much. Looking forward to the whole holidays with you. I know we just finished up with Thanksgiving, but really excited to open presents and eat and hang out with you and watch Book of Boba Fett. And I don't know, I might do a rewatch of Mando season 1 and season 2 to prep myself before then. So
at least season 2 with Boba in it,
Really
cool. But anything to take our mind off of our dreadful Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm down.
You had to bring it up. You just had to bring it up. Okay. Well, man, hey, thanks again. Everybody, you all know how to follow Joey. Just Joey or Joey Molinaro pretty much everywhere. Social media, go follow him. I have a feeling he'll bring a Boba Fett out soon on his voices that he does, because he was really good at that. But you know what? Thanks for sticking with us. We'll do some other short shows. We're going to do one with Tony next and catch up with him. So a blast from the past. But until the next show, thanks to Joey. Thanks to all you listeners. For Rule of the Galaxy, may the Force be with you.